My aunt and cousin are staying with my family for a little while. I have asthma and I take pills for it every night. Yesterday morning my cousin came up to me and asked if I could stop taking my pills because it triggers her. Anyone else in the world, I would have said no. But my cousin is a recovering medicine addict, so I said I can take it in another room, but I still have to take it. She got mad but left me alone. Night came when I was supposed to take my meds. I leave my meds on my desk, so I know where it is. I went to my desk to grab it and it was gone. I asked everyone in my house if they had taken it and they said no. I had this feeling in my gut, like I already knew what happened. I went into the room my aunt and cousin were staying in and started searching. Looked at the bedside table. There they were, my meds. My aunt walked in right as I was going to take them and started screaming at me about going into her room. Last I checked this was still my parents' house. She grabbed the meds out of my hand and said it's really difficult for my cousin not to relapse when she knows I'm taking pills, dude. They're pink and bubblegum flavored, they're barely even pills. She said that I'm going to have to do without my meds while they were there. Now let me just say, my aunt is one of those crazy anti-vax, essential oil, type idiot. She doesn't believe in asthma. So, I snatched my meds out of her hand and called her a freaking idiot. Because I can't breathe if I don't take those meds. She got angry and told my mom that I called her a freaking idiot and searched the room. My mom took away my phone. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I gonna bash your mom a bit. She should listen to your side before she does things that make her an idiot like your aunt is. I'd threaten them both that next time your meds go missing, that you will be contacting the cops. Use the neighbor's phone if your mom shows bad judgment and takes yours away again. Who takes meds that could, if your condition is bad enough, lead to your death? An idiot. Who takes your phone away for calling that person an idiot? An idiot. If she didn't know and apologizes, she gets a commuted sentence, maybe. Not the idiot. Let me get this right. You're being shamed because of something you have no control over by someone who does have control over their actions and behavior. Okay, then. Yes, the language was harsh, but it was either that or have an adverse reaction to a medical condition you have to live with as opposed to an idiot who chose to be a pilly. Though, given who her mother is, maybe it's not such a stretch after all. Tell your mom the whole story. If the pilly and her anti-vax mother really have a problem with that, they can hit the bricks and take their sideshow to someone else. Not the idiot, and what your aunt and cousin did could have resulted in your death. Additionally, you could have called the police on them for what they did. If you wanted to file a report, you still could. Either way, they need to understand how serious that was, and your mom should get the whole story so that she can help protect you. That is her #1 job when it comes to you, is to keep you safe. So show her this post and make her understand. You are in danger. My mother-in-law is a kind and funny woman, though she does have few problems with boundaries and is a little too involved in my marriage, especially now that my wife's pregnant. My wife's family aren't well off financially, and it's the opposite with my family. My family own a factory, I'm an engineer, my wife has a job that doesn't pay well, but she's happy with it. Every time I get my wife something nice, especially jewelry, I get a call from my mother-in-law complaining that she got nothing once she finds out, even if it was my wife's birthday or our wedding anniversary. Holidays and other occasions aside, she'd throw a fit about how I was treating her as less than. She always comes over, and when she notices a new piece of furniture or any new item, she'd complain I didn't get her similar stuff. She sent a picture of a very expensive necklace that she wanted me to get for Mother's Day. I called her to ask about it, and she said that she's been wanting it for a while and only I could afford it. When I told her I may not be able to get it, she replied that I already got my wife an expensive necklace on Sunday and I can afford this one. I didn't get her necklace, and instead I decided to get her some fresh flowers that I picked from my late mother's garden that I trimmed and organized myself, then put them in a nice vase. We visited Sunday evening and my mother-in-law kept smiling till it was time for gift opening. I handed her the flowers and talked about how much time and effort I made to put everything together. She was shocked and said she thought I loved and cared enough to get her something nice, just like my wife, who technically isn't even a mother yet, and she's been a mother for 32 years. I got annoyed and said that I did not appreciate her harsh response to my gift, but she argued with me and kept talking about how much she wanted the necklace and that I could afford it, just like I was able to afford the one I got for my wife, but instead chose a thoughtless, crappy gift to give her. That pissed me off. I said that I married her daughter and not her. Of course, I was putting my wife first, and it's crazy she thinks I'm obligated to treat her and my wife the same. My wife looked at me and was astonished. Mother-in-law replied that I was being mean and nasty to her on purpose and rubbing my financial stability in her face, treating her as if she was greedy instead of showing her appreciation. She went inside looking so upset she was almost crying, then my wife followed her. Suddenly, everyone was staring at me, it was awkward as hell. My wife snapped in the car telling me I was way out of line for making her mom cry on Mother's Day and said that she will not let my attitude cause a rift between her and her mom. I asked if she agreed with her mom's demands and she said no, but I went over the top and shouldn't have spoken to her that way. She said I deeply hurt her mom's feelings and should apologize. I really don't want to ruin my relationship with my mother-in-law, but I'm worried that I just did. You didn't marry your wife's mother and her mother is not yours. End of story. You were well within your rights to do what you did, especially when mother-in-law calls you all the time to drop hints and complain. Explain to your wife that it would be asinine if your father called her to demand that she go buy him a nice juicy steak or fancy scotch or a wonderful tie that only she could afford. Turn the tables. Explain how nuts that would be. Then tell her that's exactly what your mother-in-law is doing to you. Not the idiot. But your mother-in-law is an epic idiot. Makes one wonder if her happiness for you and her daughter was merely motivated by her own self-interest. You say mother-in-law has been saying these type of things for quite some time. Your wife must have been witness of mother-in-law doing so, and for that very reason she should have been in your corner, regardless if it was Mother's Day or not. In all honesty, your wife should have spoken to mother-in-law about her comments after the first couple of times and nipped it in the bud with ground rules. Not the idiot. I really hope your wife isn't flouting your wealth in front of her mother and telling her to ask you for these things. She says she doesn't agree with her mom's demands, but she's saying you should apologize, and for what exactly? You said she followed her mom after that argument, so she probably went to console her and to tell her she was right to be upset and yada yada. You need to sit down and set some firm boundaries with your wife, cause your mother-in-law seems to feel incredibly entitled to your money for some reason. Long-time lurker, desperately need outside judgment on this because all my real-life responses are so mixed. I, 22, have been with my boyfriend, 30, for a few months now. He moved to England just over 2 years ago. I really like the guy, but he has so many issues regarding English culture or norms, and he's making no effort to change them. We went out with my friends for dinner last week at a really popular British chain. 2 of the people we went out with work at other branches of the same chain. We all ate our meals and had a great time, but after we all left my boyfriend was in a real mood. We were heading to a bar to get some drinks, and out of nowhere he just snapped, "I think it's absolutely disgusting that not one of you left a tip. Do you know how much those wait staff earns?" One of my friends who works at another branch said over £8 an hour. A couple of pounds above minimum wage, and he just sulked. When we got home that night he was still moody, and I tried to explain to him that we just don't really tip here very often because the servers get paid hourly. He thinks it's disgusting. He also has an issue with me just being on the pill. In England, people in committed relationships with no transmitted diseases tend to just use one form of contraception. Note: I'm not looking for judgment on whether these norms are right or not, and for me, my preferred one is the pill. He went crazy about this, saying that we have to use rubbers, changed his mind later that night when he wanted to make love, and where he's from taking just the pill is begging to be pregnant. He does things like this a lot. There are smaller examples, like getting pissed off when my brother, who is 18, legal age to drink here, drinks in front of him. My sister is at university and he refuses to call it anything but college when college here is something you do before you're able to go to uni and is typically, at least in my part of the UK, seen as something less academic students do. I know that he's being rude and I'm not the idiot for that, but we recently had a fight about it in which I declared if the only thing you like about this country is the free healthcare and that they speak English, you should back off. Since then, he's been really upset. I don't think he knows how annoying he was. Am I the idiot for shouting at him rather than speaking? Not the idiot. Your boyfriend, though. Complete idiot. This has nothing to do with him being American or the customs you guys follow in Britain. He is just a complete idiot that spouts off whenever he doesn't like something. I generally roll my eyes at the redditors that are all leave him, but in this case, leave him. You have only been together for a few months. Get the hell out of this relationship now. Does he do this with everyone, or just you and your friends? Because I wonder how on earth he manages to get along in everyday life. That said, you are not the idiot. That crap would get old, fast. I moved to Finland 7 years ago, and my key to happiness as an immigrant is to say to myself, this is the way things are here, deal with it. The only time anyone needs to hear about how things are done in the United States is if they ask me. Not the idiot. He's in your country trying to impose his own country's customs on you and your friends. He might personally dislike the way certain things are done, but he's a massive bellend for having a go at people over it. If he doesn't like the way things are done there, he's always free to hop on a plane back to the US. Not to make light of your situation, but I find this a little funny. I'm an American who grew up in England, and some of the things your boyfriend has issues with, I hate over here in the States. So some months ago my girlfriend and I had our 1-year anniversary, and of course, we exchanged a gift. She hinted me that she would have loved a ring, nothing too crazy, and I got her a ring. In addition to that, a big frame with 12 pictures in it, one picture from every month we've been together. Yes, I know it may sound lame. I'm a sort of minimalist, and I don't really have anything I need, so when she asked me if there was something I'd like, I said whatever she wanted. It's the thought that matters. She got me a little frame, bought for very cheap at the Chinese shop under her house, with 4 pictures, and that's it. The gift idea was cute. I was expecting some more effort. The pictures were not even aligned, they appeared to be thrown in. I was sensing very little effort from her side to her gift. Anyway, I didn't want her to feel bad, also because I could be wrong and overreacting, so I didn't say anything and thanked her instead. All good until some days before Christmas. She has 2 close friends, and she didn't know what kind of gift to give them. I suggested a couple of ideas, but she said it was a waste of money, around €10. Keep in mind she lives with her mom and gets €500 from her dad every month. And then she said what got me a little angry. I'll do the thing I do when I don't want to spend money and time on a gift. I'll just buy 2 cheap frames at the Chinese shop, print a couple of photos, and I don't have to think about it anymore. After a moment I expressed my perplexity about what she had just said, because it was the same thing she had done with my gift. I got a little angry and she said I was overreacting, that it was not the same thing, and that I shouldn't think about it. Now some time has passed, I'm not angry, but I feel sad about the whole thing. Am I the idiot for getting angry and sad about the whole situation? Not the idiot. No. She literally just declared what she does when she gives no craps about a gift, and it just happens to perfectly match what she did for your anniversary. But that's different. I hate that defense. It's essentially an admission of fault on the other party's end, but somehow people seem to think that it's a blanket defense for being horrible. This sounds like it needs a much more serious conversation with some honesty involved from her end. Not the idiot for your feelings. You're never an idiot for feeling a certain way. You're an idiot depending on what you do with your feelings, and if you let this sit and fester and get increasingly annoyed and sad about her gift without discussing it further with her, that'll cause way bigger problems and may make you an idiot. Just tell her again how you feel. If she completely brushes it off again, well then you've got a decision to make. You may never read this, however, I just want to point out while you are definitely not the idiot, make sure to evaluate the whole relationship before making big decisions like a lot of these other redditors are suggesting. If it's an amazing relationship and this is the one thing that she's terrible at for whatever reason, maybe don't put too much weight on it and try to talk to her about it again. On the other hand, if this is just one example of how she treats you in the relationship, then yes, I urge you to reevaluate the whole thing. On Saturday morning, I noticed my husband was sending a lot of text messages back and forth. He is usually not much of a texter. He left the phone next to me to charge while he was in the other room. The phone kept lighting up with text messages when I decided to open it up to see what the big discussion was about. I know some couples view it as a big breach of trust to read through a significant other's phone, but my husband and I do it regularly, so this was not a huge invasion of privacy on my end. We both have nothing to hide, and it has never been an issue before. Anyway, of course, I saw something on the phone that I shouldn't have that got me upset. For background, my husband is 34, I am 32, and his sister is 31, she's in this story. Husband and I have been together for 10 years, married for the last 4 years. We are all college educated with jobs now. My husband and I each make good salaries around $150K each. We own our house. I still have about $60,000 in student loans I am working to pay off, luckily low interest rates, so I just pay the minimum. We have about $40K liquid in savings. So we are doing good financially, but still need to build up more savings, as we will probably try to start a family in the next 1 or 2 years and want to be prepared for an emergency and have a rainy day fund. Anyway, my husband's sister is trying to buy a 1-bedroom apartment in New York. I saw in the text messages that my husband offered to give her $10,000 for her down payment. The money in our savings is our money. Our bank accounts are 100% combined. My husband manages 99% of the finances because I prefer not to deal with it. However, it is understood we consult each other regularly on major purchases. He did not ask me if I was okay with him giving this money to his sister. She didn't ask, he offered. I immediately confronted him calmly and was like, "Hey. Did you tell your sister you would give her $10,000? He said yes. I asked him when he was going to tell me. He said he probably wasn't. He figured I wouldn't notice and said he didn't think I would care about the details. I said, do you think $10,000 is a detail? He said, no, that is a lot of money. I should have told you about it. Are you okay with it? I said, no, I don't think I am. Anyway, we decided at that moment not to give the money. He said he would tell his sister and she would understand. He wanted the issue to go away after that. But I am still mad. I said this was a big breach of trust. I let him control all finances because I trust him to never, ever take advantage of my ignorance. Shouldn't you be able to trust your husband? So now, I don't have that full amount of trust I had before and I want to open my own bank account, which frankly, I should have anyway. But am I the idiot for being totally upset and feeling betrayed about this? I grew up poor and $10,000 is a ton of money to me, I mean, to most people, right? I am horrified he would consider gifting it away and not even telling me. Not the idiot. When you have joint savings, it's not a single person's to do what they want with it. My wife and I have our individual savings and a joint which is accumulating for our future home. He's the idiot for making a decision about the money without you. It's a good thing he relented and decided not to go through with it. After reading the horror stories on here, though, you might want to keep an eye on your bank accounts. Not the idiot at all, and something isn't adding up. Do you know if his sister has a problem, unpaid debt, or something similar going on? It seems like the easiest course of action for your husband would have been to inform you of his sister's problem so you'd agree to send her some money. The fact that he felt the need to hide it is concerning. Perhaps he knows this money will be going towards something you wouldn't approve of. Not the idiot. Unless you're super wealthy, $10K is not insignificant and he absolutely should have talked with you about it. I would feel completely betrayed. My husband and I have mostly separate finances and I manage most of the bills and savings. I wouldn't dream of moving that much money around without talking about it. I paid off my mom's credit card once, $5K, with money from my own savings and we still talked about it first because it affects our emergency or liquid funds. I wouldn't blame you if you opened separate accounts after this.